Good afternoon, one. Good afternoon, all. Welcome here as we begin All-Star Race Weekend here in the second season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series, and we kick things off with the 34-lap All-Star Open. This is the final qualifying race for drivers that are not yet locked into the All-Star race to put themselves into the All-Star race that will take place later on this evening. 21 drivers out of our 40-car field are locked into the All-Star race, so that means 19 drivers here today will be battling for 3 positions to get into the All-Star race. The drivers that finished first, second, and third at the end of today's 34-lap event will be transferring into spots 22 through 24 in the All-Star race grid. We've got, as I mentioned, 19 cars in this field. 5 of them are rookies, and there's a lot of big names peppered through this field, and a few of them are former winners from last season, but we'll get to why they're in the Open rather than in the All-Star race in just a moment, as Derek Hamill, a rookie, will line up on the pole position for this one. Alongside of him is going to be Johnny Gardner. Not really sure if track position is going to play a big factor into this one because, number one, we're running the 2019 rules package, so the draft is going to be very effective today, and number two, it's 34 laps. It's not like we're doing a 5-lap dash. There's going to be plenty of time for drivers that are at the rear of the field to work their way to the front, and as I also mentioned too, 19 cars, so that's actually less than half of a field that we have each week. So a very easy opportunity, I would think, in 34 laps for drivers to be able to move their way up. And there's also the possibility, I'm not 100% certain about this, but there is the possibility these drivers might have to make a pit stop in the middle of this 34-lap race. They might be able to make it the full 34 laps, but I'm not 100% certain on that, so I don't want to say that they are good to go this entire race on fuel. We could end up seeing the pit crews come into play as to whether or not their driver's going to transfer into the All-Star race or not. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go down trackside and let's get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
So as the pace car is going to lead these drivers off of pit road, you'll see a very short, a very abbreviated starting grid on the right side of your screen. Now, the drivers that I was talking about that it's kind of surprising that they're in this Open when they had wins last season are Carter Friesen, who was the Daytona 500 winner last season, Jessica Shelton, who won last year at Phoenix, Benny Watson, who won last year at Darlington, and the defending champion Chris Dalwerton, who won last year at Fuel Motorsports Park. Now, why are they here in the Open and not in the All-Star race when they had wins last season? Well, their wins last season came before last year's All-Star race break. Those wins got them into last year's All-Star race. After that, though, in the second half of the regular season, as well as during the chase, they did not go to victory lane, so therefore, they did not get locked in spots for this season's All-Star race, and thus will have to race their way in via this Open. Another driver you see rolling off there from fourth, Ryan Acosta, comes in this race the overall points leader in the standings, but he still has not found victory lane, so he also has to race his way into the All-Star race here today. 34 laps of racing. We'll see if they can keep it green for those 34 laps as rookie Derek Hamill will lead us down, and the All-Star Open is green. Let's roll it, Charlotte. They're already 3 wide back there. That's Matt Haas sticking Seth Cole in the middle. Carter Friesen way up top side. He's going to get a little bit of the wall off of turn 2. Keeps it straight, though. Charles Sanford will slide into second. Marcus Sacchi into third. So we definitely see that inside line moving because first, third, and fifth are now running first, second, and third at the completion of the first lap. Charles Sanford going to take the race lead now. Marcus Sacchi right there with him. Looked like Marcus almost went down and got onto the apron. Got to be careful doing that because there's not really any grip there on that line. That's paint. And especially with the fact we've had the sun beating down there, that's going to be very slick. So if you get that left front down there, it's going to be very difficult for you to turn the race car. And we almost had some contact there between the 21 and the 14. Johnny Gardner making a move there. And here comes Cody Lamas, our current rookie points leader. Oh, wow. All 3 of those cars got down there on that paint line. But they're still able to get the momentum off the corner as Charles Sanford, kick to the high side, begins to fade. Battle will now be for second. Cody Lamas underneath Johnny Gardner. And here comes Levi McIntyre. Remember, Obviously, these drivers want to win this race, but they would gladly settle for a third place finish because first, second, third transfers you into the main event. And now Cody Lamas is going to move to the race lead. Talked about that with it being a 19-car field, drivers will be able to move their way up to the front pretty quickly. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Chris Dollerton started back around the, 15th, 17th position, something like that. He's already up here inside of the top 5. The driver that started this race from dead last was Adam Garcia. He's just outside the top 10. I think he's around the 13th position, somewhere around there, 13th, 14th. As Levi McIntyre now going to move to the point. Both of the Rockin' Ranch racing cars are in this All-Star Open, McIntyre and Dollerton. Right now, the meat in that sandwich is Benjamin Miles in his final season in the Duracell Cup Series. He is the only Northeast Motorsports car in this Open. William Brock and Austin LaPlante in the All-Star race via wins last season. Of course, rookie Alexander Rowe taking the win at Pikes Peak to qualify for the All-Star race as well. Here comes Boxy, Jessica Shelton right there. Really surprising the fact that 2 of the S3 Motorsports cars are here in this All-Star Open. We already documented the fact that Shelton's win at Phoenix last season was qualifications for last year's All-Star race, not this year's, and Charles Sanford is still looking for his first win. Field is broken up into 2 packs now. There's about 10 cars up in this lead pack, and then you got to go a ways back before you get to Jack Mitchell and Vince Almriego. They're battling for 11th. Now, if these guys up here continue to race side by side, this second pack might be able to catch back up. Of course, they're side by side all the way through here as well, so I don't know if they're going to be able to catch up or not. And it makes me nervous because, especially up here, if we have a wreck in this first pack, the drivers in that second pack, I can guarantee you they're not going to lift. Johnny Gardner back to the point. Strong run there for him. Out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports, he is one of 2, I believe, that are not in the All-Star race. Ryan Acosta is the other. James Qualls is in the All-Star race of his Martinsville win last season, and Wyatt Quayle is in. He won last year at Dover, but he also won this year, let's not forget, at Las Vegas. And now Marcus Sacchi down in the bottom. The 2 rookies out of Team Chevy Autosport, the 21 of Sacchi and the 31 of Derek Hamill, trying to join their teammate Carson Gum in the All-Star race, as Jessica Shelton pounded the wall pretty good there off of 2. It's having her drop back, and that actually might help that second group. Carter Friesen, Sebastian Kukul, and Vince Almriego look like they may catch back up here to this lead pack. Jessica Shelton was kind of the lifeline for that second group, giving them a little bit of draft. Ooh, that was close. Cody Lamas getting down there on the paint line, and he went up the track. Benny Watson thought about going 3 wide and then backed out of it. Matt Haas now to the race lead, as he'll make the move here on Marcus Sacchi. Got a lot of Toyotas up here at the front right now. The 8, the 84, 75, 14. But a Chevy will lead that lap. So far, we've completed 10 laps, and so far they've been completed under green. Not to say they haven't been without incident, but nothing that warrants a yellow flag. As now Matt Haas to the point. Here comes Benny Watson. You know, I just realized, last season, it came down to 4 drivers at Homestead Miami Speedway. Now, 1 driver, Dylan Pote, did not return this season, but the other 3 that battled it out for the championship and were separated by 7 points, they're all in this Open. Chris Dollerton there, Benny Watson, and Carter Friesen. Out of the drivers that are here in this Open, the ones that come into this race running the highest in points, Ryan Acosta, obviously the points leader, Carter Friesen's 3rd in the standings, and Benjamin Miles is 9th in points. 7 of the top 10 in points are in the All-Star race. 3 of them are not. I also noticed as well, we are going to have a new All-Star Open winner, because Dylan Young was the defending All-Star Open winner, but due to his win a couple of weeks ago at Darlington, he is locked into this season's All-Star race. I apologize if my I'm trying to have my commentary be as lively as possible, but I was up till 2:30 this morning doing some NNSCRA gaming stuff because this is actually being recorded just before I'm heading to Daytona, so I wanted to have a whole bunch of gaming videos to have uploading while I'm gone. So if you hear some yawns or something, there's the warning. You know why. Breakaway here at the front of the field, Benny Watson and Chris Dollerton. So right now the battle is on for third, that final transfer spot. Carter Friesen has it. Levi McIntyre wants it. Johnny Gardner, Mark Gasacci, Benjamin Miles, Charles Sanford, Jessica Shelton, Cody Lamas trying to catch up here. Got a couple laps before we reach the midway point here of the Open. And we will probably know pretty soon if these drivers are able to make it on fuel or not. I don't remember last season. I'm pretty certain last season. Yeah, last season we did run the 2019 rules package, and I can't recall if we had pit stops, green flag pit stops, in that race or not. But it certainly is going to give us an idea of what to expect as far as the fuel window in the All-Star race later on this evening, and also in the upcoming points race, longest race of the season, Coca-Cola 600. I want to see the gap from the leader back to the 37 of Friesen, and it stays about 0.8 of a second. So right now we're two-car tandeming here, and third and fourth aren't losing or gaining on first and second. Now right there you see Chris Dollerton kind of lost touch with Benny Watson. It's about maybe a car length and a half of daylight between the two. So that's going to allow, I think, Carter Friesen and Levi McIntyre to catch up because they're pretty well glued to each other. Let's see if the gap closes this time. As far as the interval, last time was 0.83. This time, surprisingly enough, they lost 7/100ths. It's now a full 0.9 of a second from Watson back to Friesen. Somehow I can't figure that out because you see that separation right there between the 75 and the 43. You would have thought that's going to lose them some ground, and we've got a battle now for third. Levi McIntyre tired of riding behind Carter Friesen. He's going to try and take third place. And right now, barring something happening on pit stops, this is definitely going to play into the hands of these top four as far as battling it out for the three transfer spots, because Cody Lamas is a long ways back here in fifth, along with Benjamin Miles and Johnny Gardner. And in this race, fourth place is the first loser, really. Now, if you're Chris Dollerton, do you just ride, or do you want to win this? I mean, you don't get anything as far as, win points or anything like that. Playoff points, nothing like that. It's a non-points race. It's a qualifying race. But there's two things that Chris Dollerton could get out of this if he wins the All-Star Open. Number one, he's obviously got a lot of momentum heading into the All-Star race. And number two, he would start in the 22nd position rather than in 23rd in the All-Star race field. To be honest, if I'm Chris Dollerton, I would ride in second place because then he would qualify 23rd. That would put him on the inside line of row 12. And we've already seen here in the early stages of today's Open, starting on that inside line is definitely a good thing early on. My dogs are obviously having a field day, as you can clearly hear. And we had an exchange for third place again. Carter Friesen getting back around Levi McIntyre. So yeah, if we don't have pit stops, I think this is going to be the big battle on track between the 37 and the 99. They're going to be battling for the final transfer position. And as they continue to go side by side with each other, that might be allowing Cody Lamas and Johnny Gardner to close in. It's definitely going to help if Gardner and Lamas stay nose to tail, because these guys side by side with the draft, they are slowing each other down. Deirdre, that's enough. My dogs are very excited. McIntyre's going to clear, but you can definitely see visibly that Cody Lamas and Johnny Gardner are closing in. So we could have 4 cars up here battling for that third and final transfer position. As up front, it continues to be Benny Watson over Chris Dollerton. So let's actually focus back still at the third position. Because right now, not much going on up at the front. And now, Carter Friesen back to the inside of Levi McIntyre. But at the same time, Johnny Gardner is to the inside of Cody Lamas for the 5th position. That's going to slow those two down as far as their progress of running down these guys. And I don't know if Marcus Sachi, Jessica Schultz, and Benjamin Miles have enough time to catch up or not. The field is really, really spread out. I think you got to rely on pit road if you're Charles Sanford, Matt Haas, Vince Almriego. There's Kukolan, Seth Cole, 3 back Marker Motorsports cars in this open, and doesn't look like any of the 3 are going to transfer. Casey Nanico back here, Jack Mitchell. There's Ryan Acosta, Adam Garcia, Derek Hamill, who started on the pole all the way back here. And right now he is running dead last. Back here looking at the 3rd place battle, as I thought I heard someone scrape the wall back here. That's Shelton scraping the wall down the back straightaway. And Johnny Gardner's on pit road, so the pit stops begin. Carter Friesen was just in as well. Friesen from the 3rd position pitting, so this is it. Pit stop's coming with about 9 laps to go. And this is the money stop. Apparently nobody can make it on fuel, so it's going to come down to the pit crews here. And Carter Friesen, apparently feeling he's got to get the upper edge on Levi McIntyre, is the first to come down pit road of the leaders. Let's see if they go with a 2-tire stop or if they're going to go with 4 tires. Because I think with only 9 laps to go, they can get away with only going with a can. And that's exactly what's going to happen. A can of fuel and right side tires as the leader, Benny Watson, is in along with Chris Dollerton. Adam Garcia in the 12 is going to stay out an extra lap. So rolling the dice is the driver out of Young Motorsports. I believe he's the only Young Motorsports entry in the Open. Yes, he is. Dylan Young and Mitchell Collins are both locked into the All-Star race. I'd be worried if I was Jessica Shelton, because remember we saw her get the wall off turn 2 earlier on, and they may have to spend a little extra time repairing damage. We'll have to wait and see as Benny Watson comes off pit road. I'll tell you who had a good pit stop, and that was Cody Lamas. He's going to come out here along with Levi McIntyre, so those two might be mixing it up for 3rd place. All depends on where Carter Friesen cycles around in all of this. There's Friesen in the 37. And he's going to get around, and he might actually get up here and battle for 2nd place. Look at this. The strategy of coming to pit road early is going to work out big time for Carter Friesen. He just swung around Chris Dollerton, and that would have been in exchange for 2nd place, I do believe, because the 12 of Adam Garcia is now on pit road. So after that, it's going to be Watson with the lead. Friesen, the first one to hit pit road on those fresher tires, is going to cycle to 2nd, and now that's going to move Chris Dollerton back into the final transfer spot in 3rd. So now Levi McIntyre and Cody Lamas have to be best friends to be able to catch up to Dollerton to battle for that 3rd position. They cannot battle amongst themselves. Dollerton right now is by himself. He does not have any drafting partners. So there is an opportunity for McIntyre and Lamas to run him down. They don't have a whole lot of time, though. They've only got 6 laps to do it, and now Lamas is going to battle side by side with McIntyre. That's going to slow their progress up quite a bit. We got a battle for the lead. Carter Friesen has reeled in Benny Watson. He's going to make a move down here into turn 3. Ooh, man, Watson wanted to tuck down in front of him, but Friesen says nope. Watson has to move up, and we're side by side for the race lead here in the Open. Derek Hamill up ahead there in that 31 car. Looks like he's got about maybe a couple of corners over the race leaders, and there's been an exchange. Carter Friesen goes to the point. Cody Lamas making a move there on McIntyre to 4th place. Chris Dollerton right now all by his lonesome, but I don't think he minds it a bit. They're battling for the lead up ahead of him. That's allowing him to maybe close in, and they're battling for 4th behind him, which takes the pressure off him having to worry about defending that final transfer spot. And they're still battling for 4th back here. I don't understand this at all. I mean, I understand if you've got to run, you've got to take it somewhere, but these two have to realize that they are not gaining any ground on Chris Dollerton, and he is the dangling piece of meat right now. He is the final transfer spot into the All-Star race. Levi and Cody will have a great battle here for 4th place, but that's all it's going to be, is a battle for 4th place. It's not going to get them into the All-Star race grid. Now this battle for the race lead is not over yet. Benny Watson going to make a move here on Carter Friesen. Ooh, we got down there on that paint just a little bit, got loose, had to lift on the center of the corner, and so Carter Friesen's going to hang on to the spot for the moment. That gap looks like it could be visibly closing up between Dollarton and Levi McIntyre, and this is also bringing Johnny Gardner into this group and might make it a pack of 3, which will give them a little bit more speed to try and run down Chris Dollarton. I think they're going to catch Dollarton before this race is over. We're going to have a battle for the 3rd position on our hands here in the final 2 laps. Watson again, trying the inside line in turn 1. Stuck in the throttle a little bit better that time, but Friesen in that middle groove gets the better run from the center off. And now Watson's going to try again here in 3 and 4. This is definitely where you want to try making the pass if you're going to use that inside line. The turn 1 is not the best area. White flag's going to be in the air this time, 1 to go. They're battling for 4th. Dollarton hoping it lasts here for the final mile and a half. Watson to the inside, Friesen to the outside. They're both going to transfer, but who's going to win? Side by side, dead heat off the corner down the back straightaway. Can Watson get the run here through 3 and 4? Friesen's going to try and dial up that outside line off of turn 4. Watson back alongside. Friesen on the top side. Back to the throttle sooner. Drag race to the line. Winner will be Carter Friesen. And Chris Dollarton's going to hang on for the final transfer position. How ironic. I was talking about the fact that 3 of the 4 drivers that battled for the championship last season at Homestead were in this All-Star Open, and guess what? All 3 have transferred. I swear someone's listening to my commentary, because there's been so many things that have happened this season where I've said, oh, what if this happened, or what if that happened, and it ends up happening. People got to remember, this is a random game. It's set at equal settings. You can't, force this stuff to happen. And I don't know. I just do not understand how this stuff ends up taking place. It's you can't write this stuff. You can't make this stuff up. So the 3 drivers who were in the Final 4 last season that returned this season have transferred their way into the All-Star race. Carter Friesen, Benny Watson, and Chris Dollarton. How about that? Cody Lama so close, he was 0.3 of a second behind Chris Dollarton coming to the checkered flag. Unfortunately for him, 4th place is not going to be enough to get into the All-Star race, though. Levi McIntyre there in 5th, Gardner, Miles, Sachi, Almariego, Ryan Acosta. That was your top 10. But really, the only 3 positions that matter in this race are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, because they will start 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in this evening's All-Star race. But that is going to do it here for the All-Star Open. Hope you guys enjoyed this race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you your full feature results, and we will see you guys later on this evening when we will have our All-Star race event here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Until then, you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.